Alright, welcome to ETN News. We're looking at the earthquakes at Hawaii first. Nothing around Kilauea. Nothing over here on this side of the Helena fault system. But it's all down this way. Yesterday, we had a different pattern. Still got to watch over here. Just because it's not showing many, don't mean that nothing's going to happen. Because there's no 2.5s or greater in the last 24 hours. It gets spooky when it gets like that. Usually we got something larger coming. Alright, Alaska. We had a 6.1 southeast of Adak, Alaska, 18.7 miles deep. It wasn't on land, and it caused some waves to come in. I don't think they was big enough for them to call it a tsunami. But it could have been right at the edge, like hurricanes. They got to be a certain category before they call them hurricane, category 3, category 2. It's got to be a certain wavelength before they'll call it a tsunami. It could be right at the edge, and they just call it high waves. Can't consider it a tsunami until it goes over that point. It's still big, it still takes out a lot. Right around Anchorage and north of Anchorage and northwest of Anchorage. Got some activity going on. There's usually activity here all the time, but it's got a few more than ordinary. Around Anchor Point, got a swarm going on in that area, Alaska. And we got a small one down here in the Gulf, 3.0, 6.2 miles deep. That's 2.2 east-northeast of Renton Highlands, Washington. Looks like it's in a different area than what we've usually got the quakes in. Let's look at this a little closer. Okay, it's close to the area where we've been getting quakes, so it might be related. I just watch for new areas to light up with new quakes. New fault lines. Larger fault lines. We got a couple on Mount St. Helens, small ones, 0.5, 3.8 miles deep. 1.3 around Oak Ridge, Oregon, 4.3 miles deep. Now you see this line here. I've talked about it for a while, and now we're starting to see more activity of how it's laying out. You can see the line coming right down through here in the crust. Let's see if I can show that a little better over here on this. Okay, we got this line. Now all these other, all the other fault zones, they come down in angles. This one comes over. It's got some that comes over this way. But what's going on here is they go straight down through here. And I've showed you that several times. We would never be able to have one to come down this way, one to come down this way, one off of this fault, the Stonewall Mountain fault, and then Paymaster Ridge fault. You couldn't, the Rock Valley fault zone, you couldn't do that. They wouldn't match up and all come in at one time off of these little faults, or from over here. The only way that this could happen is it's one straight fault all the way down through here. A new fault. And we got 3.2 off the coast of Mexico. And, the Gulf of California. This is around Texas. That's 3.6 Texas, 5.4 miles deep, and a 3.1 east of Assyria. I don't know how they want to pronounce that, but anyway, 3.1, 2.2 miles deep. Kansas, you know where I'm talking about if you live in Kansas. Okay, now here a while back, you could see signs of something moving, continents, like up through New York, I think it was South Carolina coming down next to Florida. I'd have to zoom in and search all that again to, really get where I was at of looking at what was going on. But you got this up here. It's trying to move all this. Now this comes right down to near New York, and this is not a good area anyway. And we got this, and it's got a crack. I'd have to show you on the Google map. The crack's all the way over. Right here's New York City, right through the shelf, and that comes off of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. You can see these cracks here off the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, and you probably can't see those, but the Mid-Atlantic Ridge is pushing toward this way. So that's going to cause problems. I'm looking for like a 7.2 in the future. Can't say exactly when, but we'll watch. We'll see. That's all I can say. We'll see. But I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. Canada, 2.8. Northeast of Wiltham, Quebec. 14 hours ago. So there's not much being reported in Canada right now. Nothing significant. And here's our larger quakes. Puerto Rico, South America, 5.0, 7.9 miles deep. And then go on down here, 5.7, 3.4 miles deep. Now tomorrow, we should see another 6, because like I was talking about before, we should get a 6, then a break, then another 6 and a break, and then another 6, most likely, and maybe even a couple 7s. You don't know how it's going to turn out. But anyway, I'm looking for another 6 to pop up on the ring of fire, on the main fault that goes around the planet, other than the 6.1, because we had a 6.2 over here, and let me see what we got here. Last 7 days. Right here. 6.2. Right after we did that report, we had a 6 over this way somewhere. They downgraded it, I guess. I forgot exactly where it was at. It's hard to keep up with. But anyway, we got this 6. 6.2. And then we got this one, Alaska, 6.1. We should see another 6.0 or greater tomorrow. From the way things are looking, or the way things were looking a few days ago, we watched the earthquake pressure go down into the plates. And it's got to come up. But every day, it showed that another 6 was coming. But it wasn't happening. But we got to wait 3 to 5 days anyway after we see that. The 7s we saw here a little bit ago before these 6s, that went right down into the plate. I don't know where it went, but it's starting to come up and show evidence. And the Pacific plate, with this pushing over this, and it pushes it down toward the mantle, and when this is pushing down toward the mantle, like on the Cascadian stuff, the mantle is like a solid rock, but once you push on it and you push the continent over top of it, it pushes the mantle down. And when it does, the rocks are collided and they're sliding across each other, and millions and millions, trillions and trillions of tons of rock pushing down on it. It melts it. That's what causes magma in the first place. It melts the rock. And that's what happens on faults and things like that. The rocks, they melt, in them fault lines, like going to Yellowstone and places. It widens out year by year. And, when the fault has got something, if you run water through a trough that you built, dug it out in the dirt and run water through it, it will widen out and widen out and widen out over time. Before you know it, you started out as 50 feet. Before you know it, you're half a mile wide. Same thing goes on with the earth and the ring of fire. And when these plates, let me explain this. When you got this pushing over on the Pacific plate and these pushing back, they're going a little bit toward the north, but still they're pushing back. And because they have to be pushing back, because you got this on this side pushing this way, and it comes over to where it's pushing back against the Pacific plate. So what happens there is when it pushes, it causes eruptions. It causes the magma to come toward the surface, especially like the Cascadia and this side. It can cause new eruptions over toward California, even into Nevada or somewhere, new eruptions. Maybe old, but new ones that we haven't seen. From the mantle, it'll push against each other. It melts the rock, molten rock, and then it's called magma, and then it pushes up through a vent and pushes it out, like over on Mount St. Helens or something, to relieve the pressure. It is wild how the earth works. Okay, now this is the fire map. Here's our anomalies. As we've seen, we can watch them move across. You know, and I know this don't lie, and it has to be right. So we only see 4. The other one hasn't got room to come into picture yet. But when this one moves up here, this one back here will start in. But they got all 5 coming across the plate daily now. Florida lit up. North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, all lit up. But it came right across me too. This is bringing droughts along with it. Because when the core heats up over here and it's pushing against the Pacific plate and all that, it's causing magma to rise and stuff, and it causes the core to heat up. So this may be coming from the core because of the sun sending solar energy, solar flares. Its energy puts a pull on the earth, pulling this toward the surface from down toward the core, down that way. And it's heating up the mantle, over this way. So, this is really concerning. Anything could come out of this. And Iceland. Let's go down and look at Iceland. The Palma Islands, clear. See what Iceland's doing tonight. Calmed way down. There's not much at all. Just a few hot spots, and that could be from fires that it left behind. Which it does look like it's running a little bit right here. Maybe this fissure. But if these are fissures here, they're not moving. Alright, I'll see you on the next update. Everybody stay safe, and this world is about to go through a big change, and if you know anything about it, it talks about the man will destroy itself. The world. But it has to happen. I guess we'll just have to ride the rough ride and let the Lord show us where safety spots are at and keep us safe and go with it. It's all we can do. It's predicted, and it will happen. All right, I'll see you next time. Everybody stay safe, and we'll be watching.